My project was to assemble the parts of a computer and be able to put it together. I chose the project because first I just think computers are pretty cool, and I thought it'd be nice to learn how to put it together and possibly troubleshoot if I encounter a problem with a computer instead of having to bring it somewhere and have someone else do it. So I never really encountered any really big problems, but I had some minor ones that were really annoying. My first week I ordered all my parts. Second week I was supposed to make sure the parts worked. Third week I was supposed to assemble, and fourth week I was supposed to overclock, but I ended up assembling my fourth week because of the setback from the screws and having to reorder parts, and that was just a mess. So the three main components in the computer are your processor, which is your CPU, and it's kind of what is in charge of everything. Second most would probably be your graphics card or your GPU, which the processor sends all of the information to the graphics card, and the graphics card sends out all of the pictures. The motherboard is also important. You can't do anything without it. It's what lets everything communicate to each other. And I forgot about really explaining the assembly process during my presentation, but it would also be a pretty long explanation. What didn't work, I guess, is the screws not coming in. And so these are my final results. This is my computer fully assembled, and it's not the cleanest yet. It needs a bit of management, but it runs and it does well. So some positives and what did work is that putting together a computer is pretty straightforward. A lot of it is just knowing the parts and getting them in the first place, picking out what you need, and then the rest is just putting it together, plugging it in, screwing stuff down, putting in the power cables, and then making it look nice. There's not too much to it. But then there's always problems. And I encountered a problem with Windows, and specifically booting into Windows. The problem with mine was it didn't recognize my SSD, or my storage device, which had Windows on it, and without it I couldn't get into Windows. So I tried to unplug it, plug it back in, unscrew it, see if that would help, have it just off to the side plugged in, and none of that worked. I went into this, it's a screen called the BIOS. It has all the things connected to the computer. It has a screen where you can change all the settings, the boot order, a bunch of different things. And it didn't see my storage device still. So I was wondering what was wrong. I didn't know what went wrong with it. And after some checking, I realized I didn't have it plugged in on my motherboard. And that was it. That was the only big problem, is not having it plugged in. There can be a lot worse problems, like maybe a part ships dead on arrival, like it just doesn't work at all. But I got pretty lucky with my situation and the parts that I got. Probably the most successful moment was being able to get into Windows for the first time, and nothing blew up, nothing was on fire, everything worked, and it worked perfectly.